Hey, what is going on, Aries? Butch Tarot here. I am going to do a general read because it is a general read. It may not resonate with everyone. It is for your sun, moon, rising, and your Venus. For all you cross watchers, roles can be reversed. Always feel free to comment down below. Sometimes I watch my videos and I'm just wondering, like, I feel like, you ever watch Talladega Nights when Ricky Bobby is like holding his hands and he doesn't know what to do with them? I mean, they're here and I don't know. Anyway, it is so hot out, but I'm gonna pull an oracle card first. I got this oracle deck. I bought it from Rose, so we're gonna use it. Unfortunately, I can't shuffle like I normally shuffle with this deck, so we're gonna see how it works out. Universe, give us a card for Aries. All right. So only time will tell. All right, Aries. With all that being said, let's get it. Universe, what message do we have for Aries? What do we have for Aries for August 2025? All right. I'm kind of blown away by the oracle cards that I've been pulling lately. It feels like I should have been pulling them all along because they really tie in. We'll get to that in a minute, but first thing I see is I feel like someone coming towards you. Now, for some of you, this may be someone you just met. For others, this is someone coming in. But I feel like this person, I see them opening communication with you. And I feel like they're very direct. You know, I feel like when they think something, they say it. You know, they're kind of out of pocket. And I feel like this person is quite different. They're quite different than anyone you've met before. But the message I'm getting here is not to overthink that. That's a good thing. You know, we have the Six of Cups in reverse, and not like anyone you've ever met before. And with the Four of Swords, you know, it's that overthinking. And I feel like that's kind of like what our Oracle card was telling us is only time will tell, you know, what you do with this. You know, I feel like there's a connection coming towards you, and it's whether or not you overthink it or not. Because like I said, they're not quite like what you're used to. You know, they're very direct, very honest, incredibly open. Like, it's like they have no fear. You know, it's like they just say whatever they have to say. Now, that will hit you in multiple ways, though. You know, that fearlessness with that Nine of Swords in reverse, that not afraid to say whatever needs to be said, it doesn't mean they're always going to be right. And that's the thing. And I feel like this person is going to challenge you. I feel like this person is going to piss you off. But through all that, there's so much potential here. You know, I feel like this person does challenge you. I feel like it's kind of like the, you know, not the dating game, the hating game. You know what I mean? I feel like there's like a love-hate relationship that you have with this person. They, you know, they don't back down, and neither do you. But I feel like there's so much potential there with the Page of Wands. There's a potential for something real here. You know, they say, like I said, they're very truthful. But remember, when I say that, it's their truth. So it's not always going to be the truth. It's going to be what they believe to be true. So that's what I feel like, that's where the conflict comes in between the two of you, where this person pisses you off. Because I feel like this person is very stubborn. And they don't like to hear that they're wrong. Which not many people do, but... So I do feel like there is a conflict. There's a lot of passion between the two of you. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of conflict. But just the right amount. You know, with the King and Queen of Wands. You know, I feel like you both don't like hearing you're wrong. Again, I mean, nobody really does. But I feel like you both really don't like it. You know, there's... Because it's not like anyone you've ever met before, I feel like that's what kind of sets them apart, and that's what kind of... We need to focus on that and not overthink this. I just really feel like this person's not... And I'm going to keep saying it because I feel like it has to be said. I feel like this person is just not what you expected. Not who you expected your person to be, but yet they... I feel like that's exactly how it feels. I mean, through all this person pissing you off, I feel like there's a deep connection that you share with this person, and I feel like we have new love here. You know, there's just something about this person that you can't seem to shake. You know, even though they piss you off, you still want to know what they're up to. You know, even though they piss you off, I feel like you still... I mean... They still fill your cups. You know, like, how I see it is like, they piss you off more than anybody ever pissed you off before, but they also make you feel joy like no one else has made you feel before. You know, and it's that balance that keeps you both coming back for more. You know, filling up your cups. The Sun card is that happiness that you feel when you're with each other. You know, and that's what causes us to move forward. This shouldn't cause it to be held back. You know, we have the Chariot moving on from the devil, breaking free and moving forward. You know, I feel like there's going to be a lot of internal struggle when you think about this person, but you're still thinking about them. And they're still thinking about you. I feel like you have very different... There's a lot of differences that you have, that, like, outlooks on certain things that you just clash on. But the energy, it's real. And like I said, this person, they're direct. And because of that, there's a sense that you just feel like you can trust this person. You know, and I feel like that establishes this connection even that much more. I mean, it's a foundation is being laid here without us even knowing about it. Now, that sounds like a lot of bad things. But I feel like this person shares with you, and they, you know, I feel like they open up dreams and goals and fantasies that you had that maybe you even forgot about. You know, this person nurtures that. They bring that out of you. So for the negative things here, I mean, there's so much more positive. You know, the very nurturing energy, you know, it opening doors. And I feel like as you move forward, I don't feel any sense of regret. You know, the Five of Swords, I feel like the only regret is not seeing this for what it is and not embracing it for, you know, for whatever reason. Like I said, not to overthink this. This person's going to be different than what you're used to. But that's a great thing. I mean, I see this moving so quickly too. It's kind of like it kind of takes a mind of its own. And I feel like the when I say love hate, that's more of a play on words. I don't feel like it's ever a hate. I just feel like this person does piss you off. And they know how to press your buttons. But I feel like that's kind of like when you're communicating with this person, maybe through text or on the phone, they piss you off. When you're around them, energetically, there's just something that you just can't be mad at. You can't stay mad at them. And I feel like it's the same for them. I mean, it's both sides. I mean, there's a very deep connection here. You know, like I said, with that Lovers card, we have that. I like to coin it the firefighter love. When everybody else runs out, they're running in. When everybody else runs out, you're running in. You know, you keep going back for them, and they'll keep coming back for you. And that's where this sets it apart. For me, as reading this, that's what really sets us apart. You know, just being there for each other, nurturing each other, you know, reigniting some old dreams and fantasies. Or just having someone that can join in our dreams and fantasies. You know, a lot of times we meet people and they're just not aligned with us. You know, and that can be one of the biggest issues. But with this person, there's so much alignment. I feel like the reason why you have that love-hate relationship with this person is because you're so much alike. But I feel like at the end of the day, you're gonna dig it. Like I said, we had that Oracle card. Only time will tell. You know, and I feel like that kind of rolls into only time will tell where you let this go. I see something amazing. I see an amazing connection you have with this person, and I feel like it. I mean, it has real potential. But at the end of the day, it's your decision. The decision rests on you, so only time will tell. Like I said, I have no doubt that if this person's already in your life, you know exactly who I'm talking about. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, you'll know when you meet them. You know, for who this resonates with. Like I said, but I love that distance. I mean, they piss you off more than only people that really truly we have real love for can do that. They have that kind of power where they can piss you off to no end, or they can make you feel as happy as you've ever felt. Like I said, this person is honest, but it's their truth. You know, and sometimes it's going to piss you off. Sometimes it's going to make you mad. And sometimes you're just going to want to not see them, but it ain't going to last. And that's what sets this person apart from anyone else. You know, that's when it's real. With this person, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if another fire sign because we have a lot of fire. We have Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. We have Gemini and Aquarius and Libra. We have some Capricorn. We have Cancer, Scorpio. I laugh because I was just talking to Rose about this, actually. Rose doesn't let me win. She never lets me win anything. If I want to win, I have to earn it. And I love that. I love the shit out of it. I don't like people that roll over. I don't like yes people. I don't like people that, and I mean that as a partner. I don't mean I have friends that are like that, but I just mean I couldn't be with someone that was a yes person that would just let me win all the time. I need someone that's going to tell me them, no, you're wrong. And not only that, but actually have a valid point of why I am wrong, because I've been wrong a lot. People that call me out when I do something stupid, I want someone that's going to call me out because it makes me not do stupid things again, because I know if I do, I'll get called out again. But the point, what I was laughing at is about, we were talking about how we've gone from one extreme to the other in our relationship. There's been points where I just didn't want to even look at her. There's points where she's moved out. We've been in that big of a disagreement. She's moved out. And, she knows how to press my buttons. I know how to press hers. And sometimes we get in the mood where we want to do that. And I feel like some people just like some argument. I don't mean like arguing all the time and they like that. Maybe some people do. But with me and her, it's not that we like to argue. It's that neither one of us want to back down. And we've been together 16 years. So there's been times where we just hit an impasse. But there was this one time, particular story. She was moved out a few years ago. She moved into a place. And we were at the point she just moved out. We were pissed off at each other. And she calls me up. She said, I heard something in the basement, because she was renting this house. And I went right over and I checked the basement. Even though she pissed me off, even though at that point I really didn't want to see her, I always got her back. And she's the same with me. And that's the thing. I don't know if I've ever been more pissed at someone than I've been pissed at her through our relationship at times. But I don't think I've ever been happier. I can't think of a time that I've been happier than times with her. And even when I'm pissed off at her, like I said, I have her back. It's, and that's when it's real. And not all relationships are going to be fight free. Just because you fight with your partner doesn't mean, it's toxic and it won't work. We have this sugar-coated idea of what, love stories are nice, romantic movies are nice, but they're not real. In the sense that in real life, real shit happens. You want the person standing next to you to be the person that the real shit happens to, that's got your back. They glamorize it on TV because that's part of the movies. It's like a buddy of mine, we were laughing one day. Me and him were out with Rose and his girlfriend, kind of like a double date. And they were talking about how love stories, like how girls want love like that. And I'm like, yeah, and guys want dragons, but they're like, oh, we want the love like in the movies. Why can't guys like that? I'm like, why can't we have dragons like in the movies? I want a pet dragon, but it's not gonna happen. But it's like they romanticize it so much and they make it look so flawless. But in a movie, they're not going to show you the bad days. Somebody in your family passes away, or you lose a job, or you get in a car accident, or you get sick. They glamorize all that. It's not real. Like I said, there's nobody else I'd rather be stuck in a foxhole with. If I had to go to a deserted island, I want her with me. And yes, there's going to be days when I'm probably on the other side of the island. There's going to be days when I piss her off and she's pissing me off. And I give as good as I get. She gives as good as she gets. But it works for us. And we're not afraid to argue. We don't like to argue, but we're not afraid to. You know, arguments happen in relationships. You know, even the most happiest relationships I've ever seen. My grandparents were married 63, 64 years. They argued. They fought. They had big fights where they didn't talk. But I always laugh because there was one time my grandmother was pissed off at my grandfather because he went out drinking the night before. And so she went in and she had these pots and she was banging them in his ear when he was sleeping because he was sleeping in. And he got up, he was grumpy. And they were fighting with each other all morning. And anyway, giving each other the silent treatment. Now, supper time comes. She's making supper. And she always put out, like, she always had canned preservatives, like mustard relish, I think it's called. And they had beets and stuff like that. And they had the lids on. And they never said nothing to each other all day. And she said, I need you to open the thing for me. And he comes over and he opens them. Then he leans over and kisses her on the cheek and sits down. And then they were fine the rest of the night. Like, it's about getting over it, you know what I mean? And that's the thing with me and Rose that I love too, is the fact that we do fight, but we get over it. You know, we don't branch it out to something else. And that's very toxic. When you're in a relationship with someone, it's a red flag. I honestly believe, I'm going to put a video about red flags, but this is one of the red flags. If a fight turns from fighting or arguing about one thing to arguing about different things, that's a red flag. You know, that's why communication is important, so we don't have all this shit buried up, and then when the fight pops off, we're like, okay, this, and this. I don't know if this makes sense. I think it does. Hope it does. Anyway, I love y'all. Be good. Take care. Stay safe.